Hey there. I'm just listening to We Can Do Hard Things by Tish Melton, and it's fantastic. And therefore, I think you should too. And today I am going to share a little bit of what it's like to be the squirrel that is my mind and talk about 1,000 first dates. That's what it's like to love me. And Christmas miracles and dreamboats and lighthouses and some lessons along the way, I hope. If you're an adult amateur horse lover who wonders what it takes to make magic with horses, you're in the right place. I'm Paige Lockton, and this is the magic of Horsecraft. Join me for conversations with wizards in the world of horsecraft about the ingredients needed to build connection with horses and courage in life. Turns out these things are connected. How do I know? Like most things, I learned the hard way. I lost the magic I once had with horses. In regaining it, I discovered that the elements of connection are learnable. Whether you ride your horses forwards, backwards, or sideways, stick around for stories that show us how we are the same and that anything is possible. Take a chance. And today I am going to share a little bit of what it's like to be the squirrel that is my mind and talk about 1,000 first dates. That's what it's like to love me. And Christmas miracles and dreamboats and lighthouses and some lessons along the way, I hope. So this blog, or this handwritten bit in my journal, which is what it is, started out the other day as 1,000 first dates, as I ran from one end of the farm to the other going, oh, I forgot this here. Oh, where's that there? And trying to find a pen, a flowy pen that will write in the temperatures my cabin drops up into. Yeah, like it's got to be the right pen. Anyhow, I was running all over the place and kind of catching a glimpse of what it's like to be someone that's like 1,000 first dates. And so initially I was going to write about head injuries and trauma and what it's like to exist in that bubble that I have witnessed some other friends with great compassion in and developed more compassion for myself since. But then I got tangential and I started talking Christmas miracles. And when I think miracles, I think Nona Bell, and I think of this book that I'm slogging my way through called A Course in Miracles. And then I started writing. So here it goes. And this one is on Christmas miracles and dreamboats. And it starts with, my friend Nona and I talk about miracles all the time. Not surprising, I suppose, if you know that my friend Nona is a reverend who spent decades studying metaphysical texts from around the globe. It was Nona who introduced me to the Course in Miracles. Truth be told, always truth be told, I was less than impressed. It is dense and the language off-putting for someone with a pile of luggage around Christian dogma. And this was all full of capital H him and references to my son. It just didn't sit well with me. But I wanted something that Nona had badly enough to do just about anything. And what did Nona possess that I coveted with such longing? A pervasive sense of peace and equanimity permeates the air around her. It's magnetic and contagious. And it was something that, in spite of all of my studies and practices, eluded me. Don't get me wrong. The tools I used worked. They brought me into a state of flow and gave me relief from my anxiety and pain and uncertainty. But in between practicing heart math or meditating, my set point was fear. Yeah, fear most definitely had the wheel most of the time. That meant that the decisions I was making and the plans I was hatching were made from a place of fear. And when you do that, I can tell you from prolonged personal experience, your plans never go the way you hope they will. No, rather they follow your line of predominant thinking and the energy of fear that you've been practicing so much. That's what they follow. And I get it. I mean, I've understood this for some time on an intellectual level. But as you can see from my failure to launch till this very moment, pretty much, I was not able to embody this inner sense of peace that Nona radiated. Yes, I could find joy in a shitstorm, moments here, moments there, but why was I continually in the shitstorms and the crises? In my search to find a felt sense of safety and connection, I have left few stones unturned. And while I enjoyed moments here and there, they evaporated in the face of the facts of my current, I'm making air quotes, reality. To be the person studying this stuff, writing about it, and unable to truly attain it was becoming more and more unbearable. I needed a miracle. The universe, as it will, delivered. What I didn't realize is that it had been delivering all along. I just couldn't see it through the goggles I had on. One of my miracles arrived in the mail this time last year. It took the shape of a veritable tomb of a book with over 1,000 pages of the most dense language. It's the Course in Miracles. I was curious, but seriously nonplussed. This God stuff just wasn't my thing. Nona agreed with some of my observations. Well, at the same time, guaranteeing me that it would change the fear-based way I perceive the world and replace it with a pervasive perspective of love, trust, and gratitude. She called it the shift. In spite of what you may believe about me, I was not a good student. I challenged Nona and this monstrous book on daily. It was the start of metaphysical voice bombs back and forth between us. Asynchronous conversations about God, reality, old programs we were running unconsciously, and trusting in something outside of ourselves. I thought it would be exhausting to her to receive so much pushback and questioning. Turns out, I was wrong. Nona's mission in life is to share the shift in perspective that led to her Buddha-like presence and sense of peace with others. And since ACIM, or A Course in Miracles, was so much a part of how she got there, and such a difficult book to digest, she wanted to make it more accessible for others. Truth be told, again, always, ACIM is a slog, but like many things, a worthwhile and transformative trip. Now, that may seem like an irretrievable tangent to some from where I started, but I am going to pull this one out of the hat, or maybe out of my ass. I don't know. We'll see. So this started out as 1,000 first dates. This is what it's like to love me. And now here we are. Well, this is just such a good example of my alter ego, Tangent Queen. Tangent girl? Tangent woman. Yeah. Well, it seems that the Tangent Queen has met her match and will never again have to apologize for her tangential conversations. Nope. At least not with my dreamboat. What's that you're asking? Has my ship come in? Well, come on now. That's not a fair question to ask. It's not fair to put on anyone, and it's certainly not after our acquaintance can still only be measured in days. Back off. Give us a little space. Some time to breathe. And before I tell you about him, let me tell you a thing or two about our expectations of ships sailing in and saddling someone you love with the unbearable weight of your unattainable expectations. Because while this isn't the first time I've felt the glorious giddiness that comes when you feel like your ship's come in, but it is different because of the trips I'd been on before. And those are the ones that will be a lighthouse for me on this passage. One of the last times I thought my ship had come in and that I held the ticket to happiness in my hand to step aboard and be carried away, I had a very interesting awakening from the dream that I was having. I think we may call it, "Oh, Captain, my Captain." So I was having a dream or a journey, which is a process I go through to get messages and process emotions. After settling into deep meditation, I had a vision, and I was in a boat. I had the wheel, okay, I don't know boats very well, in my hands. And I looked about, and it was not feeling super, super duper seaworthy. I gotta tell you, it was a little bit like Captain Jack Sparrow's ship. And I was in a fog I couldn't see through. I couldn't see the prow of the ship. I could barely see my hands on the wheel, and I couldn't see into the dense fog in the night. And I was creeping ahead very slowly in my questionably seaworthy ship, straining so hard, looking into the dark for anything and listening. I could just hear the sound of the hull creaking. It was so quiet. And then, much to my relief, I could see a lighthouse, and I knew I was safe. But remember, I'm not really a sea captain. So I turned the wheel towards the light, and the light, in this case, represented the person that I had all of my hopes and dreams pinned upon. And I was looking up into that light, ecstatically. Things were starting to be illuminated as the strobe of it passed over my ship and around my area. And I realized, you don't steer towards the lighthouse, dumbass. What do? And all of a sudden, the cliffs were in sight that the lighthouse was trying to warn me about. They were looming over me out of the darkness, and I cranked the wheel. I know I should use another word. Hard left. It's probably stern or hard. You know what side that is. And the ship creaked and went on its side and turned and was rubbing up against jagged rocks. Everything was illuminated every time the strobe of the light of the lighthouse went by. The rocks were jagged. They were overhead. We got just when you thought it was going to be all over. We avoided them, and as we were sailing away, I looked back over my shoulder. And as the lighthouse strobed, I could see in the waters beneath me, incredibly shallow, the deadly rocks and the crevasses, and the detail caught slow motion down in there. Creatures and eels and things that moved. And I looked ahead of me as the light strobed across, and I could see that this dangerous shoal had been there for miles, for who knows how long. I hadn't looked. I hadn't noticed the signs. I had shivers. The lighthouse was not my savior in the way that I thought it was, but was definitely a warning. And that relationship was definitely a warning. But I wasn't done there. Not done with pinning my hopes and dreams on people. I did it one more time. and had the shocking yet somehow deep honor of having somebody sit cross-legged across from me and tell me why those were fantasies and expectations that they didn't have. I hinted at this in earlier blogs about expectations and weighing people down with them. I have been someone who handed the keys of her happiness over to someone else to save her, and they can tell you how exponentially heavy those keys get over a lifetime, and that there's really, at least in our case, no taking them back. So, having recovered from some reality bitch slapping that left me feeling a little bit like that puddle of creature of a thing under the park bench that was Voldemort at the end of the series of those movies, Harry Potter. Kind of just naked and bare. Then I have been replacing those behaviors with who I really want to be and really doing the work. And then I met somebody. And I don't know. I don't want to say he's my ship come in, because that would be cruel and unusual punishment, as I know from others I have done that to. But boy, it feels good to lean into that feeling, I gotta tell you. And I am giddy with it at a time I really need that kind of energy. And I am bolstered because this is a really special person. And so the fact that they hold me in such high esteem and really dig me and show me such exceptional care and compassion and respect is phenomenal. And I shouldn't be surprised, given that their job description meant that they needed to be very trauma informed. It was really helping to transmute the trauma and the experiences of groups of people that had been harmed by decisions our federal government has made in the past. And he was the ethno-historian hired to go into communities, gather facts, record them, and gather stories and hear the impacts of the decisions that had been made very much to their detriment. And then be the person that retells their stories in court, where the decisions are being made at the highest level and they could hear themselves reflected and changes were made. So you can tell this kind of person who'd done a job like that for 30 years would be a super good listener, wouldn't you? Oh my goodness. And the fact that we have so many phenomenal synchronicities in our lives is amazing. And that there are things that I am going to revoke some earlier decisions and things I may or may not have written about what is or isn't possible for me at this age. But I can tell you that to feel safety and connection and to be seen, heard, felt, and appreciated for who I really am and who you really are, it is possible. Because I figure if it happened to me, it can happen to anybody. And it's happening. It's happening to me right now. So with no expectations of how long we are to be together or what we're supposed to bring to each other's worlds, we are co-creating time and pockets together and sharing truths. We're very much a mirror for one another, and mutual fan clubs. And I am a very big fan of Dr. Professor J. Michael Toms, PhD as an ethno-historian. So the world is a better place for him in it, certainly for me, but I know I don't know how many thousands of other people that had their pain and trauma heard and seen and transmuted into something that feels different for them, and for others to come to have laws changed. So I thank the universe very much that this human is in it, and that they dig me. And yeah, it's permission slip to lean into my weird too, because they're just fun and rebels and all kinds of interesting things that we're learning bit by bit. So if you're out there and you're uncertain on your journey, I am just living the path of and testing it continually of what is possible, including reclaiming physical health and decrepitude, spiritual health and decrepitude, nervous system function, and good living. I'm just here to test what is possible and report to you even when I fail. So thank you very much for listening to this special edition. And we are actually leading up to Christmas. I'm in my little cabin with a snowstorm brewing all around me on, I think it's the 23rd. And I should probably go Christmas shopping. But it is gorgeous in here, and there are thoughts that aren't making it from paper to keyboard to your ears, so I thought I would try this and say Merry Christmas. Anything is possible. Expect some really interesting lines of inquiry in the new year, because I have made a whole new tribe of people, a herd of people, who are, some of them, ahead of me on the journey in the evolution of Horsecraft, and others right alongside me. And no matter where you are on your journey, whether it's in Horsecraft or healthy living, the two coincide, by the way. And I judge ye not, judge yourself not. We're all doing the best we can with what we know at the time. Sometimes our best is damaging and it isn't good enough for others or for ourselves. But it's generally a reflection of what our best is. And my wish for you is to surround yourself with people who bring out the highest level of best in you the most consistently, and who make you feel like there's just a bubble of safety and connection around you. I'm going to have a lot of programming that includes, for my memberships, meditations and things you can access for tools to find peace in the new year. And I will be updating you on the adventure along the way. In the meantime, thanks for hanging out and listening. That's amazing. And I really appreciate you. So until we see each other, hear each other, touch each other, however we communicate again, take a chance. And remember that anything is possible, with the caveat, together. Hey, you're still here. Thanks so much for listening. What you think and feel matters. If this resonated with you, please like and share. It truly makes a difference. I encourage you to engage with the content on my Substack account and my socials, all at The Magic of Horsecraft, where you can join the discussion and shape the future shows. Tell me what you want to hear more of or less of, and we'll evolve together as we grow a community of like-minded souls here for the good of the horse. If you're an adult amateur horse lover looking for confidence and clarity in your role of equine steward, check out my course, From Amateur to Magician, Making Magic with Horses, at themagicofhorsecraft.com. Until then, I'm here to remind you of a couple things. 1, underneath it all, we all want the same things: to be heard, understood, and accepted for who we are. And 2, anything is possible. Take a chance.